Once upon a time, performing at Coachella was like getting knighted by the music gods, a sign you had officially arrived on the world stage. K pop fans understandably made it a huge deal. But that was before 2019, back when Coachella was about music and not just glorified Instagram backdrop. These days, getting on the Coachella stage doesn't mean you conquer the world. It just means you dodged a few influencers and found a working microphone. For us to really understand the essence of festivals, let's get to the history. And it all started in the ancient times. So you might want to get some food and water. We're going to be here a while. Festivals originally started as ritual celebrations. They honored gods, nature, life cycles, and communal survival. Ancient Egypt had festivals like Wepet Renpet or the New Year festival tied to the flooding of the Nile. Ancient Greece had the Dionysia, a festival celebrating Dionysus, the god of wine and fertility. Eventually, it evolved. In medieval Europe, Catholicism absorbed earlier pagan festivals into Christian ones, like Christmas taking over winter solstice. Renaissance festivals, on the other hand, were royal courts hosted. Think Shakespeare era festivities, plays, and jousts. During the 18th to the 19th centuries, festivals evolved from being God centered to nation centered. They were held for city anniversaries, national celebrations, so they were still tied to community identity but now organized by governments rather than churches. You see, that was quick. Now we're on to modern music festivals. 1950s and 1960s saw the jazz and folk festivals beginnings. This event started blending music, social activism, and youth culture. First one was Newport Jazz Festival in 1954. It was the first of its kind. George Wein, a jazz pianist and nightclub owner, had this revolutionary idea. Instead of having jazz only in smoky clubs or at midnight concerts, why not create a respectable outdoor event where people could enjoy jazz in the open air? It was also his way of bringing black musicians and white audiences together, a radical move at that time given racial tensions in America. It wasn't just about music, it was a quiet act of cultural rebellion, putting black art front and center outside smoky clubs in broad daylight in front of mainstream, often white audiences. The same guy put together Newport Folk Festival in 1959. He realized folk music was surging, especially among the youth and progressive activists. It was seen as the music of the people, honest, raw, and political. The festival helped launch the careers of people like Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, and Pete Seeger. Dylan, the darling of the acoustic folk crowd, came out with an electric guitar and a rock band. The reaction? Absolute scandal. Some folk purists booed him. Others cheered the dawn of a new musical era. But this moment showed festivals weren't just about music anymore. They were about identity, authenticity, and cultural revolution. Woodstock of 1969 was, of course, the defining moment. Originally organized as a profit making event, it became an accidental symbol of peace, love, and rebellion. 400,000 people showed up, chaotic, muddy, drug fueled, but iconic. It featured Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, The Who, and it captured the spirit of a generation. Anti war, pro peace, questioning authority. After that, other festivals followed: Isle of Wight Festival, early Lollapalooza roots, and Reggae Sunsplash. That's when pop culture's love affair began. Festivals became the ideal of peaceful protest. Despite terrible conditions, rain, mud, food shortages, 400,000 people gathered peacefully. This shocked mainstream America, which expected violence from young people. It created this idea that youth could create their own utopia. even if briefly. Of course, there's the cultural power. It showed that young people had the ability to mobilize en masse without government or corporate sponsorship. Festivals as grassroots movements became a serious idea, especially for marketers after this. And of course, there's fashion and lifestyle shift. Tie-dye, fringe vests, bell bottoms. The Woodstock look became iconic. Living free, traveling light, being an anti-establishment wasn't just a phase. It became an aspirational lifestyle for millions afterward. Festivals became a place where music trends, fashion trends, and youth identity were shaped and broadcast to the world. Films, fashion lines, and TV specials all started orbiting around big festivals. Festivals became the stage where generations announced who they were to the world. Then the Woodstock Disaster of '99 happened. July 22 to 25, 1999, it was the 30th anniversary of the original Woodstock 1969. It turned into 3 days of violence, chaos, fires, and criminal activities. It was hot, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, with no shade in sight. Water was scarce, and vendors charged $4 a bottle. That's about $7 today. Many couldn't afford it, leading to widespread dehydration. Portable toilets overflowed, and the mud people thought they were dancing in was actually mixed with sewage. The festival was packed with angsty, aggressive bands like Limp Bizkit, Korn, Rage Against the Machine, and Metallica, all hugely popular with late 90s youth. Limp Bizkit's set became infamous after Fred Durst encouraged the crowd to break stuff, leading fans to tear plywood off the scaffolding and kick off chaos across the grounds. The atmosphere turned darker as reports of sexual assaults and rapes surfaced. Security, most of them undertrained, was overwhelmed and lost control. By the final night, attendees were handed candles for what was supposed to be a peaceful vigil during Red Hot Chili Peppers set. Instead, they used them to start massive fires. Vendors' booths were looted and burned. ATMs were ripped out of the ground, and eventually, police in full riot gear had to storm the festival grounds to regain order. And 6 minutes into this video, we go to Lollapalooza and Coachella. Lollapalooza was actually founded in 1991 by Perry Farrell of Jane's Addiction as a farewell tour, a traveling festival that moved city to city across North America. It started as a touring alternative rock circus, think mosh pits, tattoos, political booths, edgy underground acts. Coachella first happened 8 years after. October 9 to 10, 1999 at the Empire Polo Club in Indio, California. It was purely about music and trying to create a laid-back, artist-first atmosphere after the disaster of Woodstock 99. Tickets were $50 a day, and about 25,000 people per day showed up. It actually lost nearly $850,000. Coachella almost never happened again. So, Lollapalooza was nomadic rebellion. Coachella was curated oasis. But then Lollapalooza collapsed, and Coachella slowly grew. Lollapalooza collapsed in 1999 because of poor ticket sales, grunge burnout, and the rise of other genres like hip-hop and pop. When Lolla was rebooted in 2000s, it shifted to a fixed location in Chicago, and it became more mainstream, but by then, Coachella had already started building mystique. Coachella booked legendary reunions, Pixies, Rage Against the Machine, alongside up-and-coming indie acts and cool headliners like Radiohead, Daft Punk. It focused on experience, music plus art installation, fashion, and of course, social media moments. By the late 2000s, Coachella wasn't just about music, it became about fashion trends. Bohos, flower crowns, and there were celebrities coming in. Kardashians, Rihanna, Leonardo DiCaprio. Instagram moments became very popular even before Instagrammable was a thing. Brands shifted their marketing budgets towards Coachella activations, knowing that if you control the Coachella conversation, you control pop culture buzz for weeks. Meanwhile, Lollapalooza stayed heavily music focused, which kept its authenticity but less buzzy outside music circles. Also, Chicago weather during April and May isn't as ideal as Coachella's desert springtime. So Coachella became a lifestyle event. Lollapalooza stayed a concert. Coachella's rise, peak, and decline into vanity. Coachella reached its cultural peak in 2018, the year of Beychella, when Beyonce headlined. She didn't just perform, she crafted an experience. Her show was a tribute to Black culture, historically Black colleges and universities, and the entire lineage of Black American music. It was meticulously choreographed, musically daring, and deeply meaningful. But after Beychella, Coachella's identity changed. I guess what they say is true. When you're at the peak, where else can you go? The festival became less about transformative performances and more about Instagrammable moments for influencers, YouTubers, and brand deals flooded the grounds. Fashion photo ops started overshadowing the music itself. By the time Blackpink headlined in 2023, the cracks were impossible to ignore. Their performance, while historic for a K pop group, was heavily criticized for being underwhelming and disjointed, a symptom of a deeper problem. The energy wasn't about connecting artists to audience anymore. It was about posing for the camera, securing viral moments, and checking a box. Look, we made it to Coachella. The festival that once promised an immersive journey through music and art had, by then, hollowed into a fashionable photo op. It wasn't about the experience, it was about the posturing. Meanwhile, Lollapalooza is reinventing itself. While Coachella drifted into influencer spectacle, Lollapalooza quietly started to rebuild itself. Instead of chasing Instagram clout, Lolla doubled down on music diversity, booking global artists across rock, hip hop, pop, indie, and EDM. It expanded authenticity into Latin America, Europe, and India, not just as a brand stamp, but by integrating local acts and audiences into the lineup. Lawless comeback isn't about chasing the flashiest moments, it's about rebuilding real music communities again. There's no expectation to dress a certain way, post every 5 minutes, or quote unquote go viral. It's about the shared experience between artist and fan. Sweaty, messy, unpredictable, exactly the way festivals were always meant to be. So while Coachella became a desert mirage of curated images, Lollapalooza went back to the music, and in doing so may have quietly reclaimed the soul of modern music festival. In the end, Coachella chased the spotlight, but Lollapalooza found the music. There are some discussions that BTS will be performing in Coachella. I don't know if that is confirmed. I don't think so. I think it's just one publication trying to generate some engagement. But I will of course take whatever I can get, and whatever it is that they decide to do, I am going to fully support. I have absolutely no plans on going to a festival. I have never been. I have no interest, but if they decide to do it, I will go and support. Selfishly, I don't want them to go, primarily because I feel like they don't need it. If they ever go to Coachella, Coachella is going to benefit from them more than they will benefit from it. The only way I feel like that would be a good idea is if Coachella is going to create an entire festival around them. Like it's this is for BTS. Then that's worth it. So it's going to be a partnership rather than BTS just becoming a headliner. The other thing is that I want them to tour. I really want them to tour. There's so many countries that would want to see them. I would rather that they do a residency or a semi residency in strategic areas in different countries. That way, they will have some normalcy in their lives, be able to do certain things, but also be able to accommodate and meet as many people as they could. Um, at bottom line is that I really don't think they need it. Especially not Coachella. It has really been on a downtrend for a while now. It's still good for certain names, for certain artists, to expose them to a wider audience, but BTS does not need it. So if they decide to do it, Coachella is definitely going to benefit more than they will. But again, if they decided to do it just for the experience, or whatever it is that for whatever it is that they decide to do it, I will definitely support them. Okay, I hope you can like this video. Please, please, please like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And of course, more importantly, share it. Put it on your social media, send it to your friends. Anything will help. Also, if you can, please follow me on X and on IG, and more importantly, on my Patreon community. It's a vibrant one. We do have a lot of conversation, not just about BTS, Asian movies, Asian music artists, current events, and sometimes we just joke around. So I hope that you will join us there. There is a free tier just in case you want to try things out. That's it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again.